What's up, dummies? My name's Wisdom. I'm a photographer, videographer, and audio engineer. The point of my channel is to dumb things down, making buying gear and equipment easy for you. Today, I'm going to walk through exactly how to make a video from start to finish in Final Cut Pro. I'm going to show you some of my methods of how I do it, how I put graphic animations on top of my video, how I put YouTube handles, Instagram handles, TikTok handles. That being said, let's jump into the computer and I'll show you exactly how I work. Step 1 for me is to set up all my folders on my SSD and Finder. I like to create my folder structures so that when I import my footage, I have destinations for all my content that I'll be using within my actual library inside of Final Cut. It's important to know where all of your stuff is, so I use my Notes app to write down the folder names and then quickly copy and paste the names into Finder. I like to title my main folder based off what the project is about, and I also include what frames per second I shot the footage in within the file name. This allows me to know right away if I have any clips that I can slow down or keep the same when I import my clips into Final Cut. Then I name the folder within that folder basically the same thing, but if I expect there to be multiple steps involved, I storyboard my folder names starting with the number 1 and so on, and this allows me to have a clear direction of how to shoot my project from beginning to end. And I also include the camera model details at the end of the file extension to be specific. Once I know what the video files are going to be called within the folder, I organize the clips by the date they were modified. So I click on the Date Modified button to arrange them from the first clip shot to the last clip shot. And then I batch rename the clips, and I make sure to name them starting at 101. When I do it this way, it makes it easy to just hit the tab button and scroll through the footage chronologically without accidentally jumping out of order. If you start your number sequence with 1 and go up, your clips will skip around and go to 10, and then all the way to 19, and then back to 2, and then they'll go to 20, all the way up to 29, and then they jump back down to 3. It basically jumbles all 2-digit values until you hit 3 digits. The computer wants to organize the information it has at the beginning of the file name with anything else that shares the same exact beginning point. So if you're doing a batch rename and you're starting your sequence at 0, the reason why it's jumping from 1 to 10 is because the computer interprets having that 1 in front of that 0 as what should be next, what should be followed next, if that makes sense. It doesn't really make sense, but that's just how it works. So that's why I start at 101. I do the same exact process for my screen recordings too. I have a main folder for the specific screen recording project that I'm working on, and a bunch of subcategorized folders get placed within the main folder of that specific screen recording project folder. And I also split things up by year to further separate and organize my overall media files. And take a few photos at the beginning of your project so then when you're done editing, you have some options to use for thumbnails. Thinking about all these things ahead of time will save you so much more time once you're ready to start editing your project. So try to be very intentional with your setup process because it makes a massive difference when you know exactly how your video will come together as a whole. And the last thing I have for my setup process is to create my Final Cut library folder, which will be where I actually save my entire project. Step 2 in my process of making videos from start to finish is to now organize my Final Cut library structure. I name my library in Final Cut the same way as how I labeled my folder in Finder. And then I begin to create 5 events specific to what media will be occupying those events. For this project, I will have a videos event, audio event, a voiceover event, an assets event, and an export event. Then I delete the self-created event that Final Cut generates and the smart folders also. If you want to create some keywords, you can also do that. Then I begin to import the files into their designated events. Side note, if you select the entire folder of anything, Final Cut will automatically create a keyword of that folder name from Finder. But if you select files individually within the folder, you have to create a keyword for those files manually once you've imported them into an event. So once you have your media files imported into your events, it's time to create your actual timeline, which I like to place inside of an event called exports. This is where you get to title your project name, set up your resolution and frame rate, and your rendering settings. I'll stick with having a 1080p 24 frames per second timeline, and Apple ProRes 422 will be just fine to use for the rendering. Now that your timeline is available in the bottom window, you can begin to start dragging clips down and crafting together your video. This portion takes up the most amount of time. It's all up to you and how you want your video to flow. There's no right or wrong way of going about it, but if you took your time at the beginning to set up your folders in Finder and created a simple step-by-step process to work from, your video begins to naturally flow and come together on its own. The main keyboard shortcuts I use are as follows. Selecting a clip and pressing Command B allow you to make cuts wherever the playhead is at. Pressing Shift Z allows you to zoom out of your timeline to view the entire timeline. Function left and function right allow you to go to the beginning or the end of the timeline. Shift Command F makes you go full screen to view your video. Pressing Escape pops you out of the full screen mode. If you select a clip and the audio is too high or too low, holding down Control and pressing the plus symbol or the minus symbol raises or lowers your decibels of your clip. Pressing the spacebar pauses and plays your video. Pressing Command plus or minus zooms in and out of the timeline. Pressing Command left arrow or right arrow moves you forward or backward one region. Control Shift I or Control Shift O starts the playhead at the beginning of a region or the end, and hitting the left or right arrow key allows you to move one frame forward or backwards. One thing you'll notice if you're using screen recording clips in Final Cut is that when you put the clips into your timeline, that they don't fill the entire viewing screen when you play them back. In the inspector window, which is the window to the right of the viewing window, go to Spatial Conform and change the type to Fill instead of Fit, and that should fix that problem. Highlight every single screen recorded clip and make that change for all of them. As you can see inside of my event called Videos, I've made keyword folders that contain all of my separated storyboarded video sections. If you have a keyword folder highlighted and then import the new clips, those new videos will be combined inside of the already existing folder. Make sure to have the event highlighted and not any other keyword folders highlighted. Alright, let's move on to start making our assets. But first, I gotta go get a haircut. Much better. So if you don't know what assets are, they're basically any piece of visual data that you can incorporate in a video. But when people say the word assets, they're usually talking about motion graphics. I use an app called Mojo to make mine. It works really well and it's fairly simple. There's a free trial that you can use for 7 days, but then you have to pay. So if you want to avoid paying anything, crank out as many motion graphics as you can, and then cancel your subscription. Or keep the app and use it all year round for $50. It is a really good tool to use though. So if you download the app from the App Store, go to the app on your phone, select Templates on the bottom left of your screen, and click on the Indonesia template. Delete the Ultimate Travel Guide text box and tap on the main text box and put whatever text you want to put there. Then select the text tab on the bottom and choose whatever style that you want. To adjust the font, tap the text that you have and the option for font should pop up. Click that and choose whatever you want. Then go to Google and save a green screen image to your camera roll. Hop back inside of the Mojo app and tap the background image. This will allow you to select the green screen image that you saved to your camera roll. Flip your text horizontally and enlarge the image if you need to. Then select Save in the top right and save it to your camera roll. The last step that you have to do is from your phone, airdrop it to your computer, rename it if you need to, and then import it into Final Cut Pro. So now that our motion graphics are created, let's run through the process of how to apply them to our video. Obviously import the assets and drop them into the timeline wherever you need them. Then, click on the clip to readjust the positioning. Click on the transform button or press Shift T. You can drag the clip around now in the viewing window to where you want it. Or from the inspector window, you can enter in the positioning you want with the buttons in the transform tab. Once you have the positioning how you want it, you'll want to crop the white borders off the graphic. To do this, press Shift C. When you're done making changes to the crop and the positioning, click Done in the top right of the viewer window. After the white borders are cropped out and you're happy with the positioning, click on your graphic to highlight it. Go to the Effects tab and scroll down to Keying, and then double-click on the keyer effect to apply the effect to your graphic. This effect cancels out the green background of the graphic and makes it look like it naturally belongs in the video. I like to apply my social handles at the beginning of my videos like this. but when you play back your clip and watch the graphic animation play through, at the end of the clip, it cuts out too abruptly. So to make it look even more professional, I select the graphic, hold down on the Option key, and drag up or to the right of the clip, and this duplicates it. I then smush the clips against each other, and I reverse the second clip to play backwards, and this creates a smooth exit for the graphic to come off screen the same way that it came in. If the graphic looks like it doesn't go back to its original beginning point of how it came into the shot, play around with trimming the first or the second clip until it looks accurate. I promise we're almost done. 2 more steps: exporting and getting your thumbnail. Exporting is very straightforward. Go to the top right and click on the share icon. This will pop up a few default options you can use. I've already made a custom export button, so I'll click on that and show you how I have mine set up. There's 3 main pieces to the exporting window: Info, Settings, and Roles. The Info tab shows you the description information of the video, who the creator of the video is, and all the tags that were used for the video. The Settings tab is the most important tab. Inside of here is where you adjust your video's format, video codec, and the resolution you want for your video. And you don't need to change anything in the Role section. I set my format to computer, the video codec to H.264 better quality, and I keep my resolution at 1920 by 1080. At the bottom of the export window, you can see your video's resolution, frame rate, how long the video is, the type of file format that the exported video will be, and the project's file size. For YouTube, video files that are MP4s work the best. So if your project is showing an MOV file at the bottom, change the format to computer and this should turn it into an MP4. I've already done this, so let me show you how to create a new default export button so you don't have to set this up every time. Click the share button and select Add Destination. Drag the Export File button into the Destinations tab. Change the format from video and audio to computer. Change the video codec to better quality, and change the resolution to whatever quality you want your video file to be. Since my videos are usually in 1080, 1080 is fine. If you sometimes shoot 4K videos instead of 1080, make a second default export button with 4096 by 2160 selected, and you can rename the destination button by double clicking on it and typing whatever you want it to be called. And that's it. When you're ready, hit next at the bottom right and export the video to wherever you want it to save. Now that that's finally out the way, moving on to making our thumbnail. Go to Google and type in Adobe Express and create an account if you don't have one yet. This is a free website you can use to make your thumbnail. I've already made an account, so I'll just log in, and after that, from the home page, hit the plus icon and select the custom size graphic. Hit popular, select the YouTube thumbnail option at 1280 by 720, select next. In the tab to the left, select Photos and click on Upload Photo. I'll navigate to my Assets folder to find my thumbnail. Select your image and import it. Resize the viewing window from 115 to 100%. Resize the picture to fill the window. Hit the Text tab and select Add Your Text. Make your title. For me, it's going to say how to make a video in Final Cut Pro. And here is where you choose your color for your text. You can select whatever font you want. I'll use the Kinto Sans black font, and then you can adjust the text box however you want. I'll keep the alignment in the center, and I'll just tweak this until it looks right. You can add effects like shape, shadow, outline, and you adjust all of these until you're finally comfortable with however you want your text to look for your thumbnail. So I have my text shaped up how I like it, and I want to add one more element to the picture. I have a YouTube logo PNG saved on my hard drive, and I'm going to pull that up quickly and import it underneath my text. To remove the background of the PNG, select it and hit Remove Background, and then click the check mark in the top right to confirm the change. And then line up the logo evenly at the bottom, and that's it. Go to the top right and hit download. Keep PNG checked, and now your thumbnail is done. Rename the thumbnail if you want in Finder and move it to a new location, or keep it in the download folder. And we are officially ready to upload. Go to YouTube, and at the top right, click on the create icon and click upload video. This will launch YouTube Studio. And from here, you can select your exported file. Find your video and upload it. YouTube will create your title based on what the file name is called, so make sure to delete anything that you don't want for your title name if you need to. Underneath the title is where you can put your description for your video. Here is where you would add any links to click on for products if you were reviewing something specifically in your video. I don't have any products I'm advertising in this video, so I'll just copy over a simple description I made in my Notes app about what my video is about. Underneath the description is where you can select your thumbnail, which we already made. So click on this and find your thumbnail and upload it. You can also add timecodes or chapters in your description as well. To do this, you have to type in 0:00 for the first timecode in order to activate the chapter feature. Then, underneath that, Find a spot in your video where you're talking about a certain step within your video, and insert the time you start talking about something and give it a brief descriptive name to that section. Underneath the thumbnail, you can add the video to a playlist, but I'm not going to do this. Go to Audience and select No, It's Not Made for Kids, and go to the Tag section. Type in some tags that describe your video and make sure to hit the comma key to add them. Under all of this, you can add your language that your video is in, the video location, the recording date. In the category section, you can select what type of video your video is, and after all of this, you are pretty much set to go. When you're ready, hit Next, and from this new window, you can add an end card if you want. And this is what pops up at the end of your video to suggest more videos that you made, and maybe a subscribe button to click on. And that's about it. Click Next. And after YouTube runs its self-checks to see if there are any copyright issues or anything wrong with the video, you can choose your visibility options for who you want to see the video. You can select private, unlisted, or public. If you want to review your video before going public, select private and then hit save. And whenever you want to switch it to public, go back into YouTube Studio and select your video you want to change and adjust the visibility option. That's it. The last step. That's the entire process from beginning to end on how to make an entire video into Final Cut Pro. A lot of it comes down to just being organized, knowing exactly where all of your media is inside of your folders. If you like the video, give me a like, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, do whatever. My name's Wisdom. Like I said, the point of my channel is to dumb things down, making buying gear and equipment easy for you, and also to teach you how to use softwares like Final Cut Pro and Logic Pro X. Thank you.
Count up a check, I'm in it for love, money, respect, all of the things that we be doing, the level we stupid and make me depressed. I need time.